Happy Thursday, guys. Welcome in here to Puck Time. We've got side plays, we've got totals, and we have props for you and three great games to break down, as well as a standalone game from Bryan Leonard and best bets from myself, Carmine Bianco, and of course, Mr. Leonard. Guys, three games here: Golden Knights, Lightning, Oilers, and Devils, and the nightcap with the Vancouver Canucks and Dallas Stars going head to head. It's always nice when the night before I look at the ones that Carmine chose, and we actually have three competitive games. However, from a handicapping perspective, doesn't mean it's always easy to predict and break down. But Carm, obviously a much bigger slate here on a Thursday. What are your thoughts on Knights and Lightning?
It is a huge slate of action tonight, and I love it because we're going to go quite a few days, I think 3 days without games, 24th, 25th, and 26th before we get some games on the 27th. So I'm looking forward to it. It's an interesting one. This game, you look at Vegas, and right now it's showing Patera in goal for the Golden Knights. It's not confirmed as of yet, but he was 2-0 last year with them, 1-0 this year. He beat the Sharks 5-4, and then came on in relief of Logan Thompson in another game, stopping pretty much every shot in the third period, 10 shots, 10 saves. But they're in Tampa, and this is a Tampa team that came back from that road trip. And normally you want to fade teams off that road trip, and especially because they were playing St. Louis, who made that coaching change and won a couple games in a row. But man, they laid a beating on the Blues, 6-1 in that game. So at least for that one, as far as the Blues go, maybe the new coach bump didn't work for them. Andrew, I looked at this so many ways, and I don't want to take either side in this one. And then I started to look at the total. Can I take the total in this game, with Vasilevsky, and let's say it is Patera in goal tonight? And I think the one thing that stood out for me is the Golden Knights. Their games have just been high-scoring games, and this is a team that I always envisioned to be a very good defensive team, but um, they turned it on in the playoffs last season. In an 82-game schedule, it is so tough to play defense night in and night out. And you look at their score lines. I think their last seven have gone over the total for the Golden Knights. 6-3, 6-3, 5-2, 5-4, 5-4, 6-1, and then the one against the Blues 6-3. It's like seven straight games over the total. And it's where I'm going to go here. It's one of those things where it's not going to make my card, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm just going to go with Knights overs until they go under. And maybe with, like I said, with Patera in goal, if he goes, in the only game that, like I said, that he's played where he started, it was a 5-4 game against the Sharks. So I'm going to go over in this game. But it's very unlikely this game makes my card. But that's the only lean I have in this game, and I'll see what the man in Vegas has to say about this. Bryan Leonard, welcome to the show, and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm glad you put this on the card, because if not, I would have used it as my additional play, because I know the Knights, and you had mentioned, excuse me, Thompson has not been playing well. In fact, last game I was with you. I joined you and had the Carolina Vegas game over. And other than the first 10 minutes of the game, it was clearly an over game. Thompson's hurt. Thompson's been hurt, and they're forcing him out there because they are already missing their starting goalie. So, but we see this all last year. Vegas played with a lot of goalies last year, and the team plays differently when they have a lesser goalie in there. And I say lesser only because they're less known. If you look at the way the goalies played last year for Vegas, they all were basically the same, which tells you how good the defense is. And Alex Martinez was back last couple of games, and I expect the Vegas defense to be better here. Golden Knights on around a 7-2-1 the last 10 games, despite really not playing very good hockey, especially defensively. Over the last 10 games, 5-on-5 play, they have a goal for percentage of 57.78, expected goal of 59.91. So they're dominating play in opponent's territory. And as I mentioned, with Martinez back, they're back to themselves defensively. Theodore's the only one out right now. He's not only a good defensive player, but he's one of their better offensive guys from the defensive standpoint. Vegas had to deal with goalie injuries all last couple of years, and it doesn't seem to phase them. They entered play today without both goalies. In fact, they called up their second goalie from Henderson. So now both the goalies are Patera and the other one, his backup. So I was hoping that when people saw that we'd get a better line here on Vegas. But actually, Vegas is taking the money in this game. And it's the smart guys that are doing it, because it doesn't matter who is in goal for the most part. Hill obviously has proved himself in the playoffs last year, but they could put just about anybody back there and have success. And I think that gives us an advantage here. Over that same time period of 10 games, Tampa Bay has a goal for percentage of 50, expected of 48.01. On the season, they have a 33 net goal deficit against the Golden Knights. So we've got a game here where basically it's a pick 'em. You've got one team that's 33 net goals better than the other, and they're off an embarrassing loss to Carolina. They were down in that game 6-1 at one point and showed enough heart to score the last 2 goals to make it somewhat competitive. I've watched enough Vegas games over the years. When they play a terrible game, they come back strong again. And unlike Andrew, I believe he bought Tampa a while back. I still don't believe in Tampa. I believe in Tampa more at home than on the road. But this is what Vegas does. Vegas will come in here and Vegas will get the victory.
Right. Andrew owns so many teams. He owns the Montreal Canadiens. He bought the Vegas Golden Knights. I thought there was a rule that you couldn't own more than one team in a league. But to your point of calling up the goalies, yeah, they called up, and I'll probably get this wrong, but his name is Isaiah Seville from Henderson. The question I had for you before we go back to Andrew is, like, any word? Are you hearing any word on Aiden Hill, on the timeline for him to come back?
Aiden Hill is expected to be day to day, but he did not make the trip. So basically, as you mentioned, the Christmas break is coming up. I would not expect him to play until the break is over, giving him more time. Thompson, we all thought Thompson had a lower body injury, but they claimed he had an upper body injury. So he's beat up all over from what I can tell. So he's not going to be. I would say Hill will probably be back before Thompson. But if you've watched Thompson, he hasn't been the same this year. So there's something wrong with him. So I have no problem with them going with these 2 guys. Patera has been, if you watched him, he looks just as good as anybody else they put out there. So Vegas is just one of those teams, and you have other teams of that ilk that are such good defensive teams. It really doesn't matter who the goalie is, and Hill's better than average. I'll give him that. But the other guys are average goalies, and they made the Golden Knights have made them look very good, and that's what they do. The coaching staff has done that, and in fact, the last couple of coaches have done that. DeBoer has been a very good defensive coach in his time, I believe, with Dallas even. So, Vegas is the way to go in this one. And, after I've said that, hopefully they come out and get this victory for us. But I expect good things from Vegas. And they have not been playing well, even though they got that 7-2 record the last time.
I agree with you, Brian. And Carm, when I look at this game, I just think that sometimes in the NHL, you really want to ride streaks, right? Like, especially this year, you can find certain teams that whether they're overachieving preseason expectations, underachieving based on preseason expectations, you can get behind certain teams and you can continue to bet on or against them. And, like you mentioned, Brian, this team, their record hasn't been too bad, but, they really haven't been playing their best hockey. But I don't really believe in that win that Tampa Bay most recently had. That win that they had against the Blues was against a struggling Blues team that just had to fire their coach. And since the start of December, they have the highest expected goals against numbers. So it's not like I'm too impressed by the Tampa Bay Lightning beating down the St. Louis Blues. It's just not something that I can use to really be impressed by Tampa right now. Tampa, as you mentioned, look, there's a reason why my buy and sell segment's only a week-by-week segment. Because if I get it wrong one week and I notice how poorly a team's playing, it doesn't mean I have to buy on them for the next month, thankfully. So I really like Vegas here. And, guys, I'm not a huge quotes guy, but I like the nasty and like mean ones, or not really nasty, but Marchessault said he thought the performance was miserable in their last time out. He said we didn't execute, we didn't support each other, and we made our lives much more complicated. I like that kind of subtle like jab at your own team. You're not calling out players. You're not doing what Devon Toews did for Colorado, where he pretty much just said our players think they're better than they are. He pretty much just said we're a good team, but we didn't work hard enough. And I like those quotes. Like, don't call your players out for hockey stuff, just their work ethic in general. So I like this number here, and I think that just the defense in general has been so up and down for Tampa that if they get a really, really tough forecheck tonight from Vegas, I believe they'll struggle. So I'll rock with that with the Vegas Golden Knights here. I think it's a good price, and they're certainly a team that I want to look for in bounce back fashion, giving up 6 goals against the Carolina Hurricanes, something that I think they should be ready for to bounce back. Brian, let's jump into Edmonton and New Jersey. Obviously, take a look at this Edmonton team. It's pretty much 2 different clubs from the month of November versus the month of December. It's amazing how things can change. It really is. And, you talk about teams that, their record might not indicate how good they are, but also New Jersey, they have a few wins recently, but they still haven't been playing New Jersey hockey. What do you think about this one here, home game for the Devils against the Oilers?
Yeah, you're right about the Oilers, right? Where I was starting to believe in them again. They haven't won a game since. So the first thing I looked at in this, obviously, is to play the over. And then I saw that the line was 7. And I said, well, you hate playing over 7, as we've learned from Ralph Michaels and his charts. But still, that's the way that I think you play it, even though this one didn't make my card. These 2 of the best scoring teams in the league, and both have defensive problems. But you need to score 8 goals to win this game. And over the last 10 games on 5-on-5 play, Edmonton's got a goal for percentage of 54.55. Expected goal percentage is 62.06, but for the most part, Oilers have been playing catch-up for that expected goals all season long. They did, when they got on the hot streak, they did match the expected goals, and I thought it would continue. It didn't. This is one of those teams, and I've mentioned it before, they have excellent scorers, but they don't have them throughout the lineup, and that's what hurts when you've got a total of 7, because half the time guys are going to be on the ice that aren't known for the scoring. We take a look at the Devils over the same time frame, 10 games, goal for percentage of 53.66, expected goals 53.22. So both these teams are playing well in the opponent's area, but I don't trust either one of them to win the game. I think if you play it over, you probably get there. Problem is, I can't get there with the line of 7. If it was 6.5 minus 120, yeah, I could buy into that. 7, I'll have to pass it at this point.
It is crazy how those 7s make that much of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in Oilers games, though, Carm. What do you think? The Ralph Michaels chart made a lot of sense, but in an Oilers game, does it really matter what that number is? They have gone under actually recently, Carm. 4 of the last 5 have gone under. What do you think tonight?
They have, and these teams played how many nights ago? I was just having a look at it. They played recently, I believe, with the Oilers. On the 10th of this month, so 11 days ago, with the Oilers winning that one 4-1 against the Devils, and I think Schmid was in goal for that one as well. I think the same goalies as we're going to see tonight. Picard is confirmed for Edmonton. Schmid isn't confirmed as of yet, but is listed as the goalie that should be starting, and that game finished 4-1. So are you looking at the over-under? I don't want to look at either. I think the Oilers, that was as flat as a performance as I've seen from them in a while against the Islanders. I don't think the Islanders played that well that they kept the Oilers to 1 goal. I think the Oilers continued to misfire on the power play, 0 for 4, including a 5-on-3. They just didn't seem to do it after that first goal, which was basically like 90 seconds into the game. They get a 1-0 lead, and they do nothing from there. There's been some money coming in since this line opened up, some money coming in on the Oilers. And excuse me, sorry. I talk about the fact that New Jersey has a tough time covering those first period numbers. They did cover against the Philadelphia Flyers, although they end up losing that game 3-2. That's only their second cover, first period cover. They did one against the Sabres, where they scored four in like a 12-minute span and blew out the Sabres. Um, I have to believe the Oilers are going to be better from the get-go in this one off that last performance. I'm going to take the Oilers first period because you can get them at pretty much even money in this game, and and that's on the money line. So if it's tied at the end of one, it's a push. So the line is just right that I can take it and not have to lay a half a goal or anything on that. If you want to take the plus a half with the Oilers, you're going to have to lay a little juice. But I think the Oilers will be better tonight than they were against the Islanders. So I'll take the Oilers in the first period, find out whether I win or lose, and then move on to another game. It's a huge slate of action.
Well, Carmine, when I look at this one, we talk about the goals and the fact that there could be action. And I also love that first period nod that you keep mentioning with the Devils. I find that so weird, especially for a team at home. But I got to go with the over, guys. I have to do it. Look, these two teams, Brian mentioned it, they can score. There's talent out there. And the funny thing is, they actually haven't looked great recently offensively. I think the last 4 or 5 games, we've only seen the Devils surpass 3 goals, I think, once. And this Edmonton team, like I said, has gone under in 4 of the last 5. So even though we're getting that dreaded 7 and we're not getting a 6.5, I kind of like the fact that we're looking for an outburst from these teams and we're not following a trend. Like, for some reason, I like the fact that we've seen a lot of unders in a row, because when two teams like this get together, there's not a lot of defensive hockey that's played. And when I look at this Devils team right now, I think that their offense can be cleared up. Their offense is going to be fine. I'm worried about their defense, because if you guys remember last year, what made them so successful, I believe, was their defense. The way that they had their good goaltending, the way that they were able to protect their own end and win low-scoring and high-scoring games. It appears to me this year with this Devils team that they don't really have the ability consistently to shut down the opponent's top guys. And now you have to go up against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I think that'll be very difficult for some of these forwards for the New Jersey Devils to match up with. And, you know, the numbers have gotten so much better. And the funny thing is, the numbers, you know, we talk about XG numbers and things. The numbers for Edmonton were never actually that bad as far as their expected goals against and all these shots on goal allowed and things like that. It was really just bad goaltending from Campbell, excuse me. So the funny thing is, and it wasn't just Campbell actually, but now you've got Calvin Pickard in nets, and now you got to rely on him. The question is it too many starts? You know, are there too many opportunities? Can you really trust a guy? How often are you going to play these guys? Stuart Skinner was struggling again. I just think that this is going to be a very fast-paced game, and there's 2 power plays that can really make teams pay. So if you're looking at player props, this could be a great one for those power play points. As I always mention, you get that nice plus money. But guys, when I look at this one, to me, both these teams will break out of their shells here. We'll see tons of goals, and hopefully, after all of this being said, this isn't a 2-1 hockey game, because I'll end up on that Twitter account, Old Takes Exposed. But I do think it's going to be a fun game to watch, and hopefully we can get some player props up on this game as well, guys. So I'm looking forward to it. And we've got a standalone game from Brian on this busy Thursday slate. Brian, what do you have for us today?
We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers, and we touched on this before the show today, and we were basically asking each other if we thought the Flyers were real. And I probably made more money on the Flyers this year than any other team. Played them last week. It took a 143, plus 143. Worked out well for me. I like this team. I also like Nashville, but I don't like Nashville in this situation. I'm playing the Flyers. Last 10 games on 5-on-5 play, the Preds goals percentage 45.95, expected of 50.44. So they're looking for a little bit of positive regression there, but they have been outscored 20-17 at even strength. If you remember, just about 11 days ago or something, Nashville took a 2-0 lead over the Flyers at home. Flyers came back, and then Nashville beats them in overtime. Nashville was completely outplayed in that game. Philadelphia had twice as many shots on goal. They were in Nashville side of the ice the entire game, and that's the only game the Flyers have lost in the month of December. Once again, we're here, December 21st. The Philadelphia Flyers have one loss in the month of December, and it went into overtime, a game that they dominated. And yet there's not people lining up to bet on this Flyers team. I don't understand it. Philadelphia has circled this game because it's their only loss, a game they should have won. And over the last 10 games on 5-on-5 play, Flyers goals force are at 55.88, expected goals 52.19, and they have outscored the opposition in 5-on-5 play 19-15. Now, while the numbers show Nashville as a slight positive expectation numbers and slight regression for the hosts, I really like the way the Flyers are playing here. And with the close revenge for something that happened last week, I think they've had this game circled. The line's cheap in my account at Philadelphia at 125, and I continue to find reasons to play the Philadelphia, and they give me no reason not to. I'll play the Flyers here.
I like that one. Sorry, I think as Andrew's frozen. Andrew's frozen. The guy is on the East Coast. It is cold there. They got a storm going through. Andrew's frozen like his Starbucks coffee this morning that he's been sipping on. But Brian, listen, I like that game as well too with the Flyers. Listen, they're third in the Eastern Conference right now. They're playing some very good some very good hockey right now. And I talked about it. I think it was last week with the Flyers is that they're finally changing, and you got to give it to Daniel Briere, the general manager. They're changing the culture in Philadelphia. That they're not going to be a stepping stone for teams. They're not going to be a free 2 points. They're not the space on the bingo card, the free space on the bingo card. They're coming in to win games, whether it's home or whether away. They're competing each and every night, and yeah, 39-22, I think, were the shots on goal in that game in Nashville. So they're playing extremely well from that point of it. So we're still waiting on Andrew, but we got another game. So we're going to go to that game. It is Vancouver and Dallas in this one. It's looking like it's going to be Thatcher Demko versus Wedgwood. And Brian, I'll go first, and I'm going to toss it to you on this one. You look at Demko and someone, we're going to talk tomorrow. Andy Lang is on the show, and I'll try and build in some futures that you guys can look at. But I'll talk about a future right now because you got Thatcher Demko, and I think he is plus 350 right now to win the Vezina. He's having a great season. The guy is 16-7-3, 233, 2.33 goals against average, a 921 save percentage. And he's playing on a team that even when he has an off night, the Canucks seem to score goals for him, and he's doing well. He's 5-1 in December. He's having a very good season. And then the other goalie in the Vezina, and I think it's right now, at least at this point, these are the two goalies. I think I talked yesterday about Cam Talbot having a great season. They lose 2-1 yesterday, but again, he's having a very good season as well, Cal Talbot. These are guys who are front runners, unlike the last couple seasons where there were runaway winners with Shesterkin and then Ullmark. But you look at this game, and I think Vancouver's got to be the play here. The reason for this is they're playing extremely well right now, and I get it. Dallas is a very tough team normally to beat at home. But the fact that Ottinger is injured and you have Wedgwood in net, Wedgwood's not a guy. He's more of a spot starter. He's a guy who was brought in to play like maybe 20 games a year, and you have Ottinger picking up the other 60. And he's now played three games in a row. He's had 99 shots on goal. It's his fourth straight start over I think 7 nights. For a goalie like that, he hasn't done that in a couple of years, at the very least, 2 years, maybe 3 years. It is very tough on a goalie. You might look good, but at some point there is that regression with a goalie who's facing so much rubber night in and night out. And this is a Canucks team that are going to get a lot of pucks on goal. I have to believe Vancouver is the play here. I'm not going to look at the total in this one because I don't know which way to go with that number, but I think Vancouver is the play here, and you're getting plus money on them, which is a bonus at that as well too. Brian, give me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, you keep waiting for Vancouver to regress, and they haven't. Over the last 10 games, 5-on-5 play, the Canucks have a goal for of 63.64. Pretty impressive. Expected goals, 47.64. So they're due for some negative regression. But I don't think it happens tonight. On the season, they have a net 32 goal advantage over the Stars. Net 32 goal advantage. And Dallas was the team I picked before the season to win it all. And they can still do it. They're still a very good hockey team. They beat Dallas in the earlier meeting 2-0. One of those games where they didn't have a lot of offense, but the goaltending was terrific. And you mentioned Demko. I believe the last time I saw the goals above average, he was number one in the NHL. That was the last time, I don't know, it was a week ago or a few days ago, but he's having a hell of a season, and this team is playing very well. Over the last 10 games on 5-on-5 play for the Stars, goal for percentage of only 46.15, expected goals 47.35. So they're getting outplayed the last 10 games. And I think just because Dallas is why this line is where it is. And I think times have changed. Vancouver, at least right now, I think is a better team. Both teams have had balanced schedules as of late and should be rested. While we know Vancouver is playing above their head, the Canucks have done so all season long. So it's one of those things that like Boston. Boston last year was so far playing above their heads. When you take a look at the expected numbers, you expected it to, eventually come around, and it didn't until the playoffs started. Boston was good all season long. They were able to ride this, and that's what Vancouver has done. I think they'll continue to do it. Keep in mind, this club was only expected to finish with 88.5 points before the season. That was their over-under. They already have 46 points in only 33 games. We're getting the currently better team at a nice underdog price. Give me Vancouver. I'm with you.
All right, I like it. We got Andrew back. Yeah, he is back from his Starbucks break. I guess it was like a 2-for-1 deal. He's back. He's got his coffee. He's sipping it. But before I throw it to Andrew, I'm going to mention very quickly our regular Tuesday guy, the man who's on the beach right now in his Borat lime green bathing suit, Don Buster, has a 5% play up tonight in the NHL. Guys, Buster's having a very good NHL season. Head over to WagerTalk, click on Buster's page, and you'll find his 5% play up. Let's give the man some love. I called him a boy. The guy's like 75. My apologies. He's the oldest guy we have on the show right now. But with that said, go over and pick up Buster's 5% play. You'll find it over on his page at wagertalk.com. Andrew, welcome back.
It's good to be here, guys. We got a crazy windstorm going on right now. I'm just happy it's not snow. So good to be here with you guys. Good to be back. And thanks for that visual of Buster, Carmine. We all appreciate that. Look, when I look at this game, Brian talked about Boston last year. And I think it's a really great comparison because, as I've mentioned many, many times, I'm mad that I didn't bet on Boston enough during their great run last year. So I can't keep saying that about Boston last year and not do the same thing here with Vancouver and jump in on them. I have to take Vancouver in this spot. Their analytical numbers, goaltending wise, defensively, their top players have just been so consistent. And any game that their top players don't step up, they get some depth scoring. If Brock Besser has a bad game, Pettersson steps up. If Pettersson has a bad game, JT Miller steps up. It seems like this team just has it all going right now. And for a Dallas Stars team that I believe is supposed to be built on defense, using their size and physicality to their advantage, they're involved in 4-3, 5-4, 6-4 game. They're involved in way too many crappy, high-scoring hockey games. They're supposed to be a veteran-built defensive team, guys. I'm just not seeing it from them right now. When I look at this Dallas team, I don't trust them defensively. Give me the team total over 3.5 goals for the Vancouver Canucks. You guys know I love those team totals. We'll take the money line out of the picture, and we'll look for Vancouver to get me to 4 goals. So just can't really trust this Dallas team right now. That's for sure. So Carm, I'll go back to you because I'm not sure if everybody got their thoughts already. So I'll go back to you.
Yeah, no, I did get my thoughts in on this one, and some great chat going on in our live chat, which is always great. Guys sharing information, sharing plays, which is always good. And you want Vancouver to get to, I think you said you want Vancouver to get to 4. I want us to get to like, I'm channeling, I was actually, I don't want to even say it. I was going to say my inner Prez, but then that would, no, that doesn't sound right.
No.
You
But
don't want
I'll
to
channel
have the
Prez and say, let's get to 100 likes at the very least. Come on, guys, before we get to our show best bet one on this one. But it's such a good card. And if you didn't tune in yesterday, not yesterday's show, but yesterday afternoon, Andrew and I, we're going to try and do this a couple times a week, either early afternoon or just before game time, where we go live and talk about some player props, some other games. We talked about some of the games yesterday, and a lot of what we said on that show, Andrew, came out and worked out, especially those shot props as well too. So I was pretty happy with my take on yesterday's show and the games, with Washington winning, LA staying under the total, and the Winnipeg Jets winning as well too. So let's see if we can have. We'll do another one possibly tomorrow before and discuss some Saturday games. But I'll throw it back to you, and we should get this best bet segment going.
And hopefully we'll get Brian to join us there. His phone must have been broken yesterday. I sent him an invite, but he never got back to me. It's all right, Brian. That's all right. It's all right. Look, when I look at those shows that we're doing, though, Carm, it's nice because we do puck time so early in the day, and it's even early for the guys in Vegas. There's so much information that's not out. It's good to get the show out early, get all the stuff that we want to say to our viewers, and let them know what our plays are. But goaltending, player updates, things like that, it's nice for us to do some shows later on in the day. So I know you had a busy day yesterday, Brian. Carm was telling me. I'm just messing around with you. But what do you have going today at WagerTalk, and what's your best bet?
Another busy day today is I've got. I believe. Let me go back and check here. Hold on. I've got 6 college basketball plays, as well as my top 3 NHL plays. And you've already gotten them. The 3 on the show are the 3 that I gave to clients. I may add more. As you were talking about later in the day, you get more information, you're able to do that. But yeah, we've been very good as of late. In fact, very good for a pretty long time now. College basketball, 36-20 run. Hockey, 42-28. So everything's been going pretty well for us. 3 hockey up and 6 college basketball. You can get those over on the site right now. I saw something from you that you had sent me, but I didn't know what it really meant. And then I saw something that you were doing a show, and I said, maybe that was what it was. So yeah, keep me in mind for the future. We'll have to get together and do that. I'm going to go back to the first game we talked about, and that was my local team here, the Vegas Golden Knights. You just get these feelings when you know a team very well, like you do with Montreal. And I always like it when I'm on Montreal and you like Montreal in a game, because that's the team you follow, and that's the team that I definitely respect your opinion on. Same with Carmine with Toronto and Buffalo. So I like Vegas here. Embarrassing performance. I love the quote from Marcia Show, and he's a guy who's very fiery. He's not the captain on this team, but he's the guy that lets people know if they step out of line. I really like the way that's played, and the goalies the Vegas have. I mean, it's an organizational thing. They could use anybody, from the Silver Knights or the Golden Knights in goal, and I'd be happy to have them there. So give me Vegas here. You got the better team, and they were an underdog overnight. Money's come in on them, but I still think Vegas gets this victory, and you can still play them in the 110 range, 115 range if you have to.
Awesome stuff, Brian. And I always like when our opinions align on the Vegas Golden Knights. So I'm with you on that one. Big bounce back spot for them, hopefully. And it's going to be a big night in the NHL. So if you want Brian's plays, but not just today, but long-term, use that promo code TAKE20 to to take 20% off any package he has available, short-term or long-term, and save a bunch of money. And that's applicable for Carmine and myself as well. And speaking of which, Carm, what do you have going today for clients?
Yeah, it's a big night of NHL right now for me. I've got 4 plays up in the NHL. 2 of them are 4% plays, a couple 3% plays that I obviously I really like, and I may be adding a couple shot props and maybe another side. So it's going to be a pretty busy night of NHL action. But at the very least, 4 plays up, and you can get those over at WagerTalk. And working on my NFL card, 1 play already up, which was part of the $2 customer appreciation. And NFL's been absolutely fantastic this season. We have that NHL package, the NFL package on our pages, $175, where you can get the rest of the NFL season right through this Super Bowl. Number 1 at WagerTalk in NFL this season. I'm ahead of the boys, and I'm pretty happy about it. It's been a good run, 19-2-2 the last 6 Sundays. So let's see if we can keep that going. As far as my show best bet, Andrew, I'm going to a player prop. Hit 3 out of 4 yesterday for clients on the shop props, and I like this one. You've got Clayton Keller, 2.5 minus 140. 5 shots a few nights ago against the San Jose Sharks in a 1-0 home win. The Sharks are starting to revert back to who they were earlier in the season, I believe, after that good East Coast trip. And they allow the most shots on goal at 36.13 shots per game. Clayton's gone over 4 straight times in 5 of his last 6. Let's see if we can make it 5 straight and 6 of the last 7. So Clayton Keller over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 140 is the show best bet. 1 more show until the Christmas holidays are here. Guys, wishing you guys all the best through the holiday season. Andrew, back to you.
Great stuff, Carm. And I got a feeling you're going to go on a huge run here. And it's a great way to keep it going with this big NHL Thursday slate. And speaking of how big the slate is, I got a lot of plays. Guys, I've been trying to keep it in. Yesterday, I liked pretty much all 3 games, only fired on one of them, and actually missed over 2% loss yesterday. But I'm not holding back today. So for me, if you want my plays today, you can get all my hockey plays in one big package, or you can use that promo code, like I said, take 20 for a 7-day, 30-day, or NHL season pass to take 20% off the entire pass itself. Guys, I'm going to go to the St. Louis Blues and Florida Panthers game. I'm going to go up and over 6.5 for my best bet here on PuckTime. St. Louis in the month of December, near the bottom of the barrel as far as their defensive statistics, giving up so many chances, so many goals to all kinds of teams. Jordan Binnington and this entire Blues team in general play far worse when they're on the road versus when they're at home. But Florida, defensively themselves, have struggled. They had that West Coast road trip, give up 8 goals in 2 games, followed that up with a good performance, then lost their next game. I don't trust Florida defensively right now either. Florida has a tough schedule before Christmas and after Christmas. This game is huge for them, but I believe St. Louis has some anger and motivation following their big loss against Tampa. When they get together in the Sunrise State, I expect a ton of goals tonight featuring the Blues and the Panthers. I'll take over 6.5 goals. Great stuff here on the show, guys. Please, like Carmine mentioned, if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button, subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, and best of luck with all of your wagers tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.